if we sacrifice, and sacrifice is required. I mean, sometimes you got to make big moves to see big shifts. I said, we can do this in a year. And I said, and time flies. It won't feel.
Welcome to the Beauty and You podcast, a safe place created for all women to come relax. Join us as we dive into the true meaning of rediscovery through inspiring guests and topics such as healing, self-love, and creating a positive mindset. So sit back, relax, and get comfortable as we dive into this week's episode. Here's your host, Chiquita Mack.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Beauty and You podcast. I'm super excited for this episode today. You are going to learn a lot, and I am very grateful to have the author of Rise Rich sitting on the couch with me today. Hi.
Hey, rich friend.
Hey, rich friend. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit with me and tell your story.
What an honor and a pleasure. I've been waiting to get with you.
Really?
Yes.
I'm like, so much pressure.
Well, no pressure. Just, admiring your journey.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me and
Absolutely.
having me on the show.
Absolutely.
I so appreciate it.
Of course. Before we dive into all the things, because there's a lot that I want to cover with your story, because I think it's absolutely amazing. Tell us a little bit about who you are. Introduce yourself.
Sure. So I am LaChelle Johnson. I consider myself the chief richologist, owner of the Wealth Building Lab. So, richologist and the Wealth Building Lab kind of go hand in hand because I feel like my life's journey has been somewhat of an experiment because I wasn't born with a blueprint for wealth. I wasn't born with a trust fund. And so a lot of my journey has been trial and error, just learning and understanding that in order to live the rich life that I envision, I have to be very intentional. And so I started, really became intentional and started my journey and was very focused on doing that so I can live my rich life. So founder of the Rise Rich movement. I'm a wife. I have 3 beautiful children and a cavapoo.
Oh.
Bronx. Yeah.
I love that. So I got to know the backstory because we all want to be rich, but there had to be a turning point because once we become intentional, it's normally after something has happened and it's like, I got to get my life together. I have to start being intentional about all choices and all things that I do. So walk me through that journey.
Well, I was raised as the oldest of 4 siblings. Okay. And I witnessed struggle all around me. So I wanted to do better. And I realized that in an effort to do better, I was really chasing more money, higher growth, just career growth. On my professional journey, I was looking for the promotions and the degrees. And I thought that if I did all the things right, that one day it would just all work out, right? I'd be rich, I'd be financially stable. But what I realized is that I was chasing to protect the fear of instability that Tootie always kind of felt as she was growing up. So Tootie's my nickname.
Yeah, we all got that nickname. Mine is Keto Bug. We'll talk about that later.
I love it. So on my journey, I realized that I was living in survival mode, right? And caught up in a cycle of just chasing more. And there was a day where I was walking to work. I got off the train and I had to walk like 4 blocks. And every day I would just kind of pray or reflect on my way into work. And this particular day, I told myself, this can't be life. Like there has to be more. And I feel like I'm doing everything right. And I still feel like I'm living check to check. And how could that be possible? Like I'm getting raises and And so I had to take a step back and become more self-aware of everything that I did not know. And and on that journey, it was a lot of learning, like who I was, who I am, and who God says I am. But then also just like, okay, so you know nothing about money management. So while you're making more, you're earning more, you're growing up the career ladder, you still are not managing your money the way you need to. And so that's why you're stuck. So once I realized I was stuck, I started to make shifts in my mindset, and I started learning and studying. I really became a financial coach because I wanted to coach myself and my family out of the cycle, right? So that we
Yeah.
could not just have more and enjoy more, but it was really about freedom and peace of mind. And so that's how I define rich. It's really about being able to exercise options that bring you peace, freedom, and joy.
Yeah, I agree. And while you're talking about money, and I remember that point as well. I wanted to break the cycle, but my family they had no education, and I watched a lot of struggle as well and making the money. I'm like, oh, I have it coming in, but why do I feel like, I'll say money comes in on the first, by the second or third, I'm like, I feel like I'm broke, but I've made the most money than I ever have. Like there's a point where when we first started, I wasn't even, me and my husband together weren't making anything. And at one point, like the money we make now is like, wait, where is it going? Because I'm not sure how to do this. So it's very important that you're able to realize, like, I need the education for that. And I have to learn how to do this. Our community, well, yeah, I have to say that our community doesn't do a good job at teaching. It's changing now, but doesn't do a good job. I didn't even know how to do a money order, something as simple as a money order at 18. I didn't even know how to, seriously.
Yeah.
I asked the lady in the post office to help me fill it out, but I didn't understand the importance of that.
Yeah. And it's we kind of just, when we do finally feel like we've achieved, right? Or we arrived, like there's this desire to do all of the things that we couldn't do and buy all of the things that we couldn't
true.
buy. So, and give the gifts,
That we never got.
that we never got. And so all of that is really what starts to just chip away at any extra money that you could possibly have. And as a matter of fact, for me, we ended up in mountains and mountains of debt, $40,000 worth of debt, just thinking it was okay because we could pay the bills, the minimum payments, and another pivotal moment for me was just like drowning in $40,000 worth of debt and saying, how are we going to get out of this? Because I've always had this sense of responsibility and somewhat intentionality. Like I was intentional, but not really being intentional in the right direction or in the right areas, that would give me that freedom. So I felt like the foot of oppression was on my neck. And that feeling wasn't the same for my husband. He was more fulfilled than I felt because we had the house and the children, and we had each other, and we had our family and community. But I struggled with owing anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't want to owe the creditors and anybody else. So
Yeah.
I said, we have got to fix this because you're good, but I'm not good.
Yeah, and that pressure is not good either.
Yeah.
So how did you climb out of that? Okay, you're in $40,000 worth of debt and you feeling the pressure.
Yes.
How did you climb out of that?
I had to sit down one day and say, and this was through my financial coaching and my learning journey, it was, how are we going to, I don't have time for another income stream, right? So we're making what we are making.
Okay.
How can I make space in our current situation and that will get us out of this hole? And so I said, well, one of the things we have to do is cut our expenses. And one of the biggest ones was a mortgage. So I proposed.
Woo. I'm like, how you gonna do that? I'm like, how you gonna take that one out?
Because, I'm also like a master executor, right? So I remember sitting at my desk in our office for probably about 2 weeks straight, like putting it all on paper. So I'm writing down all the income sources, all of our expenses, and it was a laundry list. And I would dream of like, oh, I forgot that. I would wake up out of my sleep and like, oh, I forgot that. It was just so much, right? We had business debt, we had credit card debt, we had just different, and I would just think of, I had all the things. So I had all of our expenses. And then I said, how long will it take us to actually get rid of all of this debt? And I wanted to get rid of it and get rid of it fast, because then I started to realize how much I was wasting. And I wanted to change course quickly. So I proposed to my husband that we move in with his parents, move in their basement. And us and the 3 kids. And he's like, no. And I said, but if we sacrifice, and sacrifice is required. I mean, sometimes you got to make big moves to see big shifts. I said, we can do this in a year. And I said, and time flies. It won't feel like that long. And then we can be of help to your parents, right?
Yeah.
So I sold them. We did it. And we actually paid it all off in less than a year. Wow. It was about 9 months, 9 or 10 months. $40,000 worth of debt. We paid it all off.
9.
So we had to be very intentional.
Absolutely.
We had to be very disciplined. But with that clear vision and really seeing exactly how we were going to do it month by month, bit by bit, we stuck to the program.
Wow.
And then we became even more intentional. Like that was motivation and fuel to say, oh, what else can we cut?
What else can we do?
What else can we do? What else can we do? So we actually continued to rent our house out. And we became a little bit focused on, okay, so what else can we cut? And when we're cutting, we're redirecting. So now we're building an emergency fund. We are investing. We are saving even more for my son's college tuition. At that time, he was in the 10th grade.
Okay.
So he was close, getting close to graduating. And one of my rich life vision, like very clear rich life vision points was to not have my kids suffer from student loan debt.
That's one of mine as well. They won't do it.
Yeah.
I can't. Oh man.
I just felt like, thank God for the Biden administration and that forgiveness, because that was debt that I don't think that would have been another mission. Right. That was the one thing that was like gripping. And we didn't pay that off then, but it was forgiven. Thank God for that. But back to the next shift. So we rented our house out. That became an income property, so it became another source of income. Yeah. And then we moved to a walkable community where we could save even more in gas and utilities. Wow. And we cut 2 of the 3 private school bills because the school districts were better. And so just, thinking outside of the box, not being too comfortable and being willing to sacrifice, we were able to make huge shifts and build a solid financial foundation, and that we just continue to build on.
I would have never thought to move in with the parent. I'm like, what's she finna say? How did they get out of this? Because that's a big sacrifice. Like, take a step. Sometimes you have to take a couple steps back to move forward. But this was well worth it.
Yes.
This was well worth it. And I can see how you were able to to do that. And you're thinking, I'm like private school bills. If I can get them knocked out now, because that's a lot.
Head up. Yeah.
That's a lot. Like, I'm like, Trey, when you going to graduate so I can have one? Then I say, we have college that we have to pay for. So it still just rolls.
It just
rolls
continues to
over.
roll. But, I think for me, it was like, okay, so I know how much we would have to pay. But if we start applying for scholarships and we get really, really focused on doing that and just, being intentional, just thinking about all of the ways and all of the things we can do ahead of time, not waiting for life to happen.
Yeah.
And, growing up young, when I was young, I didn't think past the weekend. It was like, what am I going to do this weekend?
And spending, swiping.
Yeah, spending, swiping. What am I going to wear? What are we going to do? Where are we going to hang out?
All of it. All the things.
Yes.
So when we start thinking about money, and one thing you brought up was emergency. How much should we have? Like, realistically, how much should we have in our emergency fund?
And this is always overlooked. Like, people are like, I will deal with it when it gets here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have extra money to save.
Put it to the side. Yeah.
Yes. But for me, little Tootie was always like living in fear. Like, when you have a scarcity mindset and you are used to living and seeing people live in survival mode, for me, if I was doing everything in my power to not sink. So I felt like I was living in fight or flight mode all the time. The emergency fund is what helped me free myself from that. And it is critical. So I think 3 months of what it costs you to at least cover all of your essential expenses.
Okay.
At least 3. But I mean, if you can get 6, that's my sweet spot. Because then when life does happen, and it does,
Yeah.
it's inevitable. Things happen.
Yeah.
And when it does, those are the moments where you get set back if you don't have that safety net.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about building that sense of freedom. How can you do that without an emergency fund? How do you feel? How do you make yourself and make sure your family is safe?
Building that fund. So 90 days.
I say 90. Yeah.
90 days.
At a minimum.
Minimum. Okay. 90
At a minimum.
days. At a minimum, y'all. So how do we do that, though?
That's the very first thing. I mean, I think, because sometimes we start to play around with wealth building, right? And we really don't know what we're doing. And we start to put a little bit here and try out investing. And maybe I should put a little bit in Bitcoin, or maybe I should just buy a house. But even home buying should be more intentional. You should probably not buy the pretty and most beautiful house on the block, maybe. And so just thinking and having some foresight and strategy behind the moves we make. So we're playing chess, right? We're playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah. But this economy is scary.
It is scary.
It's scary.
It is.
I do see a lot of people that are just living like I'm holding on.
Yeah.
And gas is, I don't know how ridiculous right now. And so they're like, I don't have extra. I don't have extra. I know I need to be intentional, and I don't know how to be intentional. So how do you do that? Like, we struggling out here, but we know we need to do this.
So the first thing I would say is, I think people do what they want to do when they want to do it, right?
Choices.
So the same people, yes. So life is about choices, decisions, and consequences. And so if you're shopping and brunching and
I'm like, Lord, stop it now.
and I'm not saying that you have to restrict yourself and live a life of just like starvation, right? But I think there are things we can do that we don't realize because we aren't living intentionally day to day. So maybe it's cutting back lunch, buying lunch every day. Maybe it's, the Starbucks every day. Like those things add up to big, big dollars
Yeah.
at the end of the month. And then sometimes it's just about monetizing and creating a stream of income with your natural gifts. So when you feel like you don't have enough to save, look for ways to cut back. Because I assure you, everybody has something they can cut back. Whether it's a vice, it's just, it is inevitable,
Yeah.
right? And if it's not, then maybe you can't save. But I think it's probably some human life value we need to start focusing on to maybe build up a skill, learn something. So invest in you
Yourself.
so that then, you can generate another stream of income. Because you got to have, income is critical,
Yeah.
right? So you have to be able to build it, and you got to tap into ways, focus on that.
I will say, while you're saying that, I'm like, use what's in your hands. Like, I really believe that everybody has a
Yeah.
gift and
Yeah.
it's already there to produce some stream of income some way.
Absolutely.
What we think is easy for us is hard, mostly harder for someone else, like saving money, right?
Yeah.
But use what's in your hands. So, yes,
Right.
if you think, I can't save, I need another stream, I'm sure your advice, your experiences, that's a way of getting that income.
Absolutely. And, at different phases and points on our journey, we are focused on building. But I think it's critical in this day and age for first generation wealth builders to focus on building up who we are, becoming more self-aware and then tapping into our gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it starts with being honest with yourself and where you are on this particular journey. Because money's hard. Money starts a lot of arguments.
Yes.
And it's difficult when you're not honest with yourself about your spending habits and about your past and kind of even where you are with your money. So it definitely starts with the honesty piece. That plays a big part, I believe, in just wealth building.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Because when you're trying to break cycles, it can be a little uncomfortable because you're used to seeing and living and doing, and it's like a bad relationship.
Yeah.
And sometimes we build poor relationships with money. And we got to become more self-aware and reverse the cycle.
Yep.
And value time. Because we hear time is money a lot, but time is more valuable than money because that's the one thing you don't get back.
Can't.
You don't get it back. And when we were young, it was on our side, So some of the things that I think about, and when I talk to the younger generation, the millennials, and I like to consider myself I'm a Gen Zer. I'm on the cusp.
We're in the middle.
Yes. Yeah. Like right at it.
I feel you there. Yeah. I'm like, woo!
Right. I can go either way.
Yeah.
But, I tell them if I knew then what I know now, which is why I'm so passionate about the Rise Rich movement, because I feel like the younger you have the knowledge and and the mindset shifts, the wealth can be built in a much faster fashion. You don't have to, go along to kind of just get along and build up these habits that then when we get to our 30s, 40s, 50s, we're trying to reverse and backstep and dig out of debt.
I also see a difference with the younger generation. Like, I'll use Trey. Hi, Trey. My son.
Hi, Trey.
He's like, Mom, I can make so much money if I want to do this. Like the mindset of how to build. It's not necessarily a 9 to 5. They're like skipping over the 9 to 5, the traditional things that we were like, I have to get older. I have to get a job. I have to. Da, da, da. He's like, okay, Mom, I want to start this clothing line. I'm like, bet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let me see your business plan. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm going to support you, but let me see your business. How are you going to do it? But I believe he can do it. And I
Yeah.
believe it would be very successful. But those
Right.
thoughts right now, like I was
Yes.
so afraid then to talk
Yeah.
about anything other than where am I going to get a job to 95? How am I going to do that? And
Right.
they're coming out the gate with like, oh, I want to do this. I want to be this type of entrepreneur. I want
Yes.
to learn more about this. And
Yeah.
investing, Ma, I think
Yeah.
I'll be really good at investing. Like if I can do that. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even think
Yes.
about that when I was 18 years old
Yes.
at all.
Yes. So they're driven, right? And social media and Amazon Prime does not help because everything is like microwave, like put it in,
Bing.
bing, and it's done. Like I'm rich. And it's wealth doesn't work that way. Building a real rich life doesn't work that way. So we have to slow them down.
Yep.
Like let's produce a business plan.
Yeah.
So now we have to kind of slow down. We have to think. We have to be strategic. Let's map it out. And I truly believe that that's how younger generations, they should sit down and map out the vision just like that for their life.
Yep.
Like envision it, but then map it out. What does that journey look like? And you are the GPS. So, and you can, we can get off course, but when you have the clear vision in front of you, it's easier to get back on track,
Yep. Talk about that now. Like
Yes.
the consequences, the shifts, the choices, all the
Yes.
things. Like, I love this for you, but
Yes.
let me see it. Produce
Exactly.
that. Now, what do you think? How do you think that's going to happen? Everything. Okay. What's the cost of that? We have to do a mock up. What do you think that's going to, he's like, what? It's like, yes, but let's talk about it
Yeah.
because I see what you want to do, but we have to have those conversations. Your mama didn't know how to do none of this. So let's talk
Absolutely.
about how you're going to do that and
Yeah.
navigate it the right way so you can have all the money to invest. He's like, I'm a risk taker. I know you are. That's why we need to talk about this now because I support
Yes.
you, but
Yeah.
let's get that education behind that.
Yes. And being a risk taker it's great, right? But we have to assess our tolerance at different points in life. And so, yeah, I have a son who's 23. He's getting ready to graduate college. So I feel you, Keita. I feel you, rich friend. And we're raising, our children with so much more. I mean, I know for me, it was trying to provide the safety net, but I realized how much more transparent I had to be with my children because they have more and they have more like than I had, right? So they have so much more in terms of structure and financial stability. And when they just have it, sometimes they think money can just
Pop
grow
up.
on trees. Yeah.
Yep.
I know. I'm like, there are no money trees you can just shake to make this happen. So transparency has become very intentional as well.
Yep.
Yep.
I've noticed that too. I have those conversations. Those conversations, I think my parents know I know. No shade, mom or dad. If they did not have with me, I make sure I have with them so that way they understand. Even with paying for their private school, I'm like, I know you ain't bringing these grades in and I'm paying this amount for your school. But it's not to just do that, but it's to understand like everything we are investing into your life. I don't ask for much, but I need them to understand how this works because
Right.
yes, I didn't have none of this.
Right.
I
Yeah.
did not have none of that at all. And I watched my mom work 2 to 3 jobs to just take care of me, and that was wild within itself. I spent a lot of time with grandma. So a lot of my values came from her, but like, it's different.
It is very different. It's very different. And, I mean, I always, in my book, I actually write no shade to my parents because as parents, we get all of the love and we get the best that they know how to provide,
Yeah, at
And-
that time.
and so we build on that. Right. And I think with an intentional mindset and when it shifts, it becomes even more of a powerful force for the next generation.
Absolutely. So talk to me more about your book.
So my book, was a labor of love, passion, because I wanted to provide what I needed to at 21 to whomever needed it, right? And I consider myself the founder of the Rise Rich movement, which is for first generation wealth builders. So it's anybody at any point in their journey that needs to become more self-aware and aware of potential cycles that they need to either come out of or reverse, so that they can build a rich life with intention. And so once I had all of my reality checks,
The self-awareness is hard.
it's hard, and to face and then realize that it's not really that difficult to live a lifestyle of abundance. And it can happen from wherever you are. There's no magic number. There's no magic rich number. I don't believe that. I think it depends. It's an individual journey. And I think it's the standard that one sets for themselves, right? And it can be different, like for you, for me, and somebody else. So I lost my grandmother about a little over a year ago. Today is actually the anniversary of her funeral last year. Yes. So, but at that time last year, around this time last year, I was determined to finish the book because she told me about, I keep saying a decade or so ago, but it was a long time ago, that I would write a book. And so I was like, and she would tell me, she would prophesy over my life. And she told me I would have a third kid. And I was like, at that time, Grandma, I have a girl and a boy. I don't think that's going to happen. She's like, oh, I see it. And I did have a third kid, right? I have Breland. And so I didn't realize that I was like walking in that prophecy a year ago until after I lost her. And I said, this is the book. Like I remembered her saying that. And I said, this is it. And so I have to finish it. Yeah. It was something that was kind of slow moving. And then when I lost her, I said, you know what? I have to do this in her name. I have to finish this book because this is the book. Yeah. And so I pressed forward, self-published author. And I just really wanted to provide all of the foundational money management principles, my story, and practical guidance to build a solid financial foundation. And so I'm super happy about getting over the hump, finishing it, and it's been amazing. And so now it's turned into a movement. So now it's like I have my Rich Friend community. Yay. So it's been unraveling, but it's so purpose driven that it's just been amazing for me to just live that speaking over my life that I can recall now. And I'm like, yep, Grandma, you were right again.
You never realize it at the moment. You're just like, okay. And then it happens. You're like, oh.
Yes.
Okay. It was right on time. Everything happens on its time. So we don't necessarily know what's happening. Something's happening. And when it does, you're like, it was right on time. Because from that birth, other branches of your business and your foundation and what you're building. And I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
I really do. And a lot of things we don't know about, like writing a book, comes from your experiences and what you've gone through. And that was a notebook. That was a composition book right there. And it turns into something beautiful that can help other people. So that's just how it starts. It's like your experiences. And the fact that it's practical, I think is like, I might need to buy this now. I feel like I was doing a good job, and I don't know if I'm doing such a good job no more. I'm just sitting on the couch with friend. I might need to get me a copy so I can just see if I'm doing all the things right.
Well, you know what? Rich friend, I'm sure you're fine. But sometimes it's just these subtle things that we don't even realize how subtle shifts can make big impacts. And it's like, I can make this one small change and go on one more vacation every year.
I might need to do that one for real.
It's like, or, having multiple bank accounts. Like I remember opening up my first accounts and it was just a checking and a savings. You could walk into the bank. I think I was 14, 15. And I was like, I need to open up a bank account. And I started working when I was 14. And so I remember walking into the bank and they're like, well, you have to have the savings. And I'm like, okay. So you have to put in a minimum amount. I think it might have been $5. So I said, okay, $5 over here, have my little checkbook. And, but who knew there was a such thing as a high yield savings account?
Yeah, I didn't learn that till later.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like all of these things that we don't know, and we don't know what we don't know, right? And yeah, so high yield savings accounts. And so I always tell folks, even if it's just that change, if you're starting to build your emergency fund, make sure it's not just in a regular old savings account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make that money. Make the money. Make the money.
Yes. And make the money work for you.
Yeah.
Another shift that I made that I have so much fun with it is building up rewards points. So
I hear about that. I'm not good with it.
Yeah. Well, what I tell folks is that, okay, if you're going to use a credit card, right? Use one that first use it responsibly, right? I always use it responsibly, use it as leverage, and make sure you manage it because credit score and factors that play into your credit score matter, right? We live in the United States of America.
That part.
All about credit, right? But American Express, I love to just build up the points. So I use it like cash, right? And I build up the reward points because I get such great travel benefits and I love to travel.
Right.
So traveling is part of my rich life setup. I have got to go on a vacation at least twice a year.
I love that.
And so if I know that, I have to be very intentional about it. So I use, for every purchase, if I can use my American Express, I use it. I pay the bill. I don't wait until the bill comes in the mail. I just swap it cash for charge, right? But I build up all these wonderful reward points that I can use for hotels. I recently booked, my daughter turns 18 May 6th. So excited. I had enough points for all of our flights to be free.
What?
Yes. So free airfare. Well, yes, it's free, right?
It's free.
Because I just built up the points. But just knowing that I can do that by just being intentional about that one thing. And I'm going to spend the money anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't like having 3 and 4 cards, to get a few points here, a few points there, maximize the points and the rewards. One vehicle that serves your rich life. For me, it's travel points.
Gotcha.
For somebody else, and so many other perks, like with the lounge, and when we go to the airport, we get to sit in the lounge and not have to wait and kind of hem and haw and look at the board and see when the next, when
all the people.
It's like, what section? Okay, so we forgot to check in, and we're in group C. So just waiting. We can wait and have snacks and drinks. Well, I drink. They can't drink, but and it just comes with the rewards. But taking advantage of them. So I think that's important. I think that's important.
It is. The whole conversation that we've had today, the key word I've taken from it is intentional.
Yes.
Be intentional about all things, all actions.
Yes.
And I think that's the key to your rich life.
It is the key. It is the key. And the sooner we tap into it, the better, because we can't get time back. So start today.
Today, y'all.
Today.
Rich friend, thank you so much for sitting on the couch with me and
Thank
spending
you.
time with me and educating us all
Thank
on
you.
how to be rich, my friend.
Thank
Can
you
you
so
tell
much.
the audience where they can find you, connect with you, join you, buy the book, all the things?
Yes. So the book is available anywhere you can buy books online. You can find me at Wealth Building Lab, all social media handles. And my website is wealthbuildinglab.org. So there's tons of information there about the Rise Rich movement, the framework, the book, and even more. So yes, follow me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
course.
much.
Of course, I've enjoyed this, and we're going to talk some more.
Awesome.
All right, you guys, I will link everything in the show notes so you can connect and get your rich frame, everything on, do the things. If you are listening to this wherever you stream your podcast, make sure to leave a review. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. All right, you guys, until next time.